If you've been paying attention at all lately, then you know there's a fierce debate, especially on the political right, as it pertains to H1B visas and whether it's a good or bad thing for the United States. Some have even called this a civil war among MAGA. Vivek Ramaswamy, biotech entrepreneur and 2024 Republican presidential candidate and now co-leader of the Department of Government Efficiency, set off a firestorm recently with his post on X where he surmised that tech companies hire foreign-born engineers because of essentially a lazy American culture that celebrates mediocrity rather than exceptionalism. His Doge counterpart, Elon Musk, also chimed in as an H-1B visa recipient himself, indicating he would go to war on this issue and implying those who are against it are racist that should be removed from the Republican Party. Of course, this entire argument is happening on the heels of mass illegal immigration under Joe Biden as the new Trump administration gears up for a mass deportation operation. It's safe to assume many people in the U.S. are anything but enthused regarding potential foreign-born workers taking more jobs from Americans. Following Musk's comments, President-elect Donald Trump told the New York Post he's in favor of the visas and has hired H-1B workers at his own properties. So is Elon Musk right about H-1B visas? Is it something worth going to war over? So what is an H-1B visa and who's eligible? H-1B visa status is for a temporary professional position by a U.S. employer for a non-immigrant alien. The difference in this visa and other visas is the H-1B is for specialty positions in specific fields like technology, engineering, and medicine. The other difference is it requires sponsorship by an employer, whereas other visas do not. The applicant must have a bachelor's degree or higher in the related field in order to qualify. The program is designed to help employers who cannot otherwise obtain needed business skills and abilities from the U.S. workforce. Employers are required to attest to the Department of Labor that the wages paid for the position are equal to the wage paid to other workers with the same qualifications. If an employer violates these conditions, there are a series of fines up to $65,661. An H-1B does not provide permanent residence like a green card, but someone can apply for a green card while on an H-1B visa. An H-1B status is active initially for 3 years and can be extended up to 6. After that, the applicant must live outside the U.S. for 1 year and then can restart the 6-year eligibility clock. The cost to sponsor an H-1B worker ranges from $730 to $1,385. The cap per year is supposed to be 65,000 H-1B visas. An additional 20,000 can be issued each year for those graduating with a master's degree or higher. An additional 6,800 H-1B visas are set aside each year for applicants from Chile and Singapore, and any that aren't used can then be rolled over to the next year. Applicants from the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands and Guam may also be exempt from the cap. Additionally, universities and related nonprofit entities, nonprofit research organizations, and government research organizations are also exempt from the cap. In other words, the maximum H-1B visas that should be issued per year is around 90,000 and requires equal wages for the position and employers having to attest that they can't find the same level of worker in the U.S. This leads to the question, is this system being abused, and by whom? According to the Department of Homeland Security, the amount of individuals granted new H-1B visa status in 2023 was 583,420 individuals. That's over 6 times the cap. And while 2023 was a record year, the numbers for the 3 years prior were all over 400,000 individuals per year. One item of note on these statistics, we're talking about individuals, not admissions. Numbers for admissions have been touted by some as being actual people, but those are incorrect. If an individual with an H-1B visa leaves to visit their country and then returns, that is counted as an admission, although it's still one person. So if they go back home multiple times, that's multiple admissions. One item of note on these statistics, these are for individuals, not admissions. Some are using the numbers for admissions. If an H1B visa recipient goes home to their home country and visits and comes back and does it multiple times, every time they enter the country, they are counted as an admission. So for this report, we're looking specifically at the individual numbers themselves. And while those numbers are less, they still far exceed the limits, which unequivocally indicates the system for H1B visas is being grossly abused. So who is doing the abusing and why? According to business guru Robert Sterling's analysis, the most prominent jobs for H1B workers are tech-related. In looking at just the year 2022, the majority of H1B workers by far are from India, accounting for around 75% of all H1B workers. The top 5 employers of H1B workers are Cognizant Technology Solutions, Google, Ernst & Young, Amazon, and Microsoft. Of the top 10 H1B employers, 3 of them are Indian companies: Cognizant Technology Solutions, Infosys, and Tata Consultancy Services. This information leads to even more questions. Is the H-1B program designed to largely hire Indian workers and pay them less than Americans? The entire premise of the program is to recruit top talent that isn't otherwise available in the United States. But clearly, just by the numbers, it's evident this program has been hijacked. The other interesting aspect is that if an H-1B worker is fired, they have 60 days to leave the U.S. unless they find another visa sponsor. Think of it. A company then has tremendous leverage over their visa workers. Do what you're told, or you'll have to leave the country. This program also provides a lot of business for universities, since a degree is a requirement for the program. As we know, many universities today are teaching woke ideology and racial indoctrination. So not only is this program a built-in revenue stream for universities, there's a high likelihood that graduates have not been taught about the Constitution or the foundation of exceptionalism that has paved the way for success in the United States. In summary, the victims of the H-1B program are far and wide. While the United States is a nation of immigrants and the land of opportunity where we want the best of the best, the H-1B program is enriching corporations and universities at the expense of the American worker because of this abuse. As someone who is pro-capitalism, capitalism only works when there's a level playing field. Allowing corporations to pay less to a foreign-born person for a job that an American can do seems anything but fair. And for the foreign worker themselves, it is not a fair scenario. They are essentially held hostage to do whatever is asked of them or otherwise be sent home. I suspect if this program weren't being largely abused and was executed as it was intended, then we wouldn't even be having this conversation. I also suspect there are many prominent figures that haven't been fully briefed on the exploitation of this program. If we truly were talking about less than 90,000 workers per year, and only in the case of jobs where companies could not find premier U.S. talent, and we weren't allowing corporations to use this as a vehicle to save money, one could argue this program could be a success. The other looming question is, why is U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services approving so many H-1B visas beyond the cap? Some, including Elon Musk, have revised their statements on the program, now calling it broken and proposing reforms like companies paying an additional fee so they wouldn't use H-1B as a vehicle to save money. Others have called for an all-out end to the program. While some on the left are licking their chops at the thought of MAGA eating their own on this issue, I look at this entire topic as a positive conversation. Without each side of this issue voicing their opinion, which I submit are both a little right and a little wrong on the facts, we otherwise wouldn't be talking about this and shedding light on a broken system. Without the debate and awareness, the enormous misuse of the H-1B visa program would be allowed to live on in darkness. What we need now is in-depth investigation, transparency, and a complete overhaul. Now, I understand people want to come to the U.S. for the American dream, and I don't hold that against them. But the question we must ask is how and why is the U.S. government allowing a corporation or foreign workers' American dream at the expense of creating a U.S. citizen's nightmare? I'm Ike Wingate, and this has been the Ike Report.